SleepLIVE.
Game copy provided by Frictional Games. Use the affiliate link down below to buy the game yourself while also sending some support my way. It's greatly appreciated. But with that out of the way, let's get into the video. Amnesia is a series I don't have that deep of a relationship with. Amnesia I don't generally like as a series, mostly because it's a lot of hiding in closet simulators, which is something I've spoken out against in terms of horror game tropes that I just really don't like. Something that caught my interest with this specific Amnesia game was the fact that it was going for a more immersive sim approach, which is something that I've been kind of wanting ever since I've kind of done a little deep dive into the immersive sim genre, and I'm just happy to see another horror game give this kind of gameplay a shot. I absolutely adore games like Alien Isolation that take the player and put them in the sandbox area with this big monster and make you actually have to genuinely figure out how to work around the AI. It's a really cool gameplay loop, and I'm absolutely happy to say that this game nails it. The game sets you within the early 1900s with you being on the French side of World War I. You're in the middle of this huge battle, and it's an amazing tone setter because it explains the mechanics super well, and it just gets you grounded in the world. It immediately establishes that it's not going to be like the other Amnesia games. This time you have a gun, you're able to shoot back, and it gives you the sense of power to take out these other soldiers while making it through these absolutely crammed tunnels. I've always been super interested in period pieces like this where they take like an element where it would even be horrifying to face right now, and they put it back in the past when we had less technology and less ways to deal with things. It really incentivizes that sticks and stones approach to a lot of game design and makes it so the player actually feels like they're grounded in this brand new world and makes you think out of the box within, well, I guess the confines of this time period. This is super well reflected within both the way the gun works with you having to like check the ammo and manually putting it in bullet by bullet. It's such a really cool and awesome feeling. And also the specific tools you're using. You're using these like hammers and these really fucked up little like screwdrivers to unscrew things, and it just feels like they might not work sometimes. Like they feel so jank and just outdated, but it's again a really awesome feeling. It makes you feel tense anytime you're using a tool because it's not quite up to our standards nowadays, and it just makes you feel uneasy, especially when you're in the middle of a tense situation and you're trying to like unscrew a locker or something like that and you just don't know if it'll like lock up or something. Again, it's an awesome feeling. Speaking of old technology, let's talk about the bunker itself. So once you get through this little intro part, you're thrown into this bunker where you wake up and you have amnesia, like the title would suggest. And so you're like, oh, you're just looking around, you're trying to find your way out. You're like, okay, I've been like probably captured by some like German soldiers or something. You explore the bunker and it's super dark, and you come across your flashlight, which is probably one of the most fucked up mechanics I've ever seen in a horror game. You see, for this flashlight, you need to like pull this string. It's like one of those it's like one of those dolls where you gotta kind of wind it up with like a little string, and it slowly just like drains over time. So you gotta like put in as much force as you want it to last. So you're like, okay, anytime I go out into the bunker, I need to like use this light as much as possible while I'm safe, and then go out there into the unknown so I don't have to rewind it, because it makes this loud noise anytime you crank it. And that basically just puts a giant target on your back, which is again an amazing feeling for a horror game. It's this bit of risk for something as simple as a flashlight, and I absolutely love it. But what exactly are you risking yourself against? What exactly is out there? Well, while you make it through the bunker, you hear these noises and stuff. You can hear bombs going off in the distance, and even throughout the game there'll be moments where you're still hearing the battle from above with like loud booms and stuff, and it'll catch you off guard from time to time because you're, again, remember, in the middle of this active World War I battle. Well, your own battle begins when you finally come across another soldier, but the soldier is heavily wounded, so he wants you to kill him so he doesn't have to face whatever the hell is out there. He leads you to a gun, which again is the flanky gun from earlier that you gotta put each bullet into, and it feels like this gun will jam up at any moment. So you make it back to the soldier, only for him to get grabbed by something and pulled in the darkness, immediately establishing the threat and throwing you into a horrible, horrible situation. While the soldiers up above are having their battle with each other, you down below are having a battle with something else. You explore the bunker a little more and you come across your first ever save room. This save room is your one and only save room through the entire game. Yes, you heard me right. There's only one save room in the entire game. And essentially the premise of this game is anytime you want to go out into the bunker, you're going with a little bit of a risk. You see, within the save room, there's a little generator in the back, this generator takes oil, and so slowly over time, this generator is going to drain that oil and make it so you lose power within the bunker. Losing power in the bunker means you have no lights on at all within the places you've explored and turned on the lights in, which is really bad because the monster is horrified of lights, and so if everything is completely dark, you are extremely exposed to this monster coming at you. But you might be thinking, well, if it's afraid of lights, then why should I be afraid while I'm in areas with lights on? Well, the monster isn't quite stupid. This thing's actually pretty smart, and it has these little holes within all the rooms, essentially making it so it can kind of reach its hand out and pull you into the hole and attack you and kill you. This makes you on edge, and it kind of has a similar format to FNAF, where you're constantly managing power and making sure you have the resources to explore certain places. It's this really fantastic loop where you're going out into the darkness sometimes and maybe taking a risk so you can get more resources and not spending as much oil, and making that dash back to the room so you can have that sense of safety and comfort from all the horrifying stuff in the darkness of the bunker. But what exactly are you collecting, and what are you trying to do in this bunker? Well, there's this little entryway to the bunker, but it's been blasted down. This is your only way out, and so your only real choice is to find a way to blast it open. You go through these different areas trying to collect like TNT and ways to destroy this way open. Make you explore the bunker and look for these name tags so you can open up these lockers, or possibly find new ways to open up doors so you can explore further into the bunker and possibly find the resources that you need to get out of here. In this aspect, it's a lot like a Resident Evil game where you're finding these different keys and codes to open up these doors and lockers, just making it so you can open up more and more of the bunker. Where I would say it most differs from a lot of the other games within this kind of genre though, such as like Resident Evil or Silent Hill, is the fact that it's more of like an immersive sim approach. So there's often a lot of doors that you could break open, but with the risk of, say, alerting the monster to you. And so there's usually like 3 or 4 different ways to open up a door, whether it be like breaking it open, using like a key or some kind of electronic lock to open it, or using one of your resources to make like a bomb or Molotovs so that you could blast or burn the door open, which is a whole other layer of resource management I haven't gone to yet. You see, there's resources like oil, bandages, and all this other stuff that you could possibly use to heal yourself or power the generators so you feel a little more safe for a while. But often there's many choices when you're using these resources. Oh, maybe I could use this bandage to heal myself now, but that put me in a situation where I can't use a torch later to possibly scare off rats that are like feeding on corpses. Or I could possibly be using this oil to power the generator later, but that'd leave me open to the monster and not make it so I don't have a Molotov to scare him off if he tries to attack me. Like, there's these different choices that just make you think, and I love this kind of game design within horror games. It makes you feel so immersed, and it makes you feel like the protagonist you're playing as. It's a sense of realism and logic that makes you actually use your brain and make you think in a realistic way about how you would approach something like this. Like, of course you could bust down a door with like a rock or something like that. Like, you could do that in real life. Oh, of course I could like light it on fire to open it. Like, that's an option. Often a lot of horror games will restrict movement or just make the player character kind of bad in terms of the way they feel, just so you feel weaker as a player, and so that the monster actually feels stronger and more as a threat. But if you're in a situation where you as the player have a lot of options, but the monster is far more competent and has as much options as you, it makes it feel like you are actually being genuinely tested by the developers, which is something I feel kind of a bit of respect for. Like, developers who actually pursue something like this show a level of competence and respect for their players, which is something that we just don't see much these days. I'm actually really happy to see this kind of thing make a resurgence, and I'm really excited for the future of indie horror. Developers are seemingly coming in with a lot more love for the horror genre, and it's really showing off as of late. We really are getting games that are just labors of love, rather than the mascot horror cash grabs that we've been kind of getting for the past couple of years. It's really awesome to see, and again, it just gives me a lot of hope for the future of horror as a whole. So to close up my thoughts, yes, Amnesia the Bunker is a fantastic game, with a lot of love and immersive sim elements that just make it a fantastic experience and an extremely unique and new kind of horror that we really need to see more of. I'm really happy that Frictional Games has pursued something like this, and I'm really excited for the future of the Amnesia series if this is the direction they would be going in. Once again, I want to give them a huge thanks for giving me this review copy so I could review this game, and if you guys want to give me some support alongside Frictional Games, once again, there's a link down below. Thank you guys for hopping on by. This has been Sleep. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like, comment, subscribe, and until then, I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.